Welcome to Black Spring on this Tuesday. Welcome to the Summer of Dissent. And I'd like to give a shout out to the patrons. That would be my patrons, Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, Sandra K., and the Angel Muniz Variety Show. Today, we'll just handle maybe 1 to 2 topics that are related. And of course, it comes from the left and a bit of pandering. And might I add, a little bit of cultural appropriation. I'll give you the visual on that. Also, check out your community tab. Later today, we have a panel in which we will deal with the First Amendment and technocracy. Don't miss that. We'll be featuring Mary Baker and Patrick Wood of Citizens for Free Speech. That's happening at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. Love to have you there. So please stick around for much more of Black Spring with Autumn. Shout out to everybody. Good morning. Good morning from Black Spring on your Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for coming in. And looks like we have, first off, we have Killer Whale Channels. Good morning. Good afternoon. I still think it's we still have a little bit of morning left in many cases. So we'll go with the morning for now. And shout out to Delacta Camille. Shout out to you, Bonjour, Camille. Shout out to you, the Angel Muniz Variety Show. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Bienvenue à tous. I would say welcome, everybody. Welcome in to the show. This is going to be a little bit of a lighter show. I'm not going to do a ton of ça va, Camille. Ça va. Maintenant. Yeah, so just doing a little bit of an earlier show because we are having two guests today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you can join us for that, that's great. But if not, of course, it will be available in replay. And of course, it will become a part of the archives as well. So yeah, it'll be great to have everyone here. So shout out to the people that are here already. Hope everybody's doing well. Just to give you guys a few minutes to come in. I want to talk just a little bit about a couple of things that are in the news. And I did say earlier that things were kind of, some of these topics were pretty much connected, the things that I'm talking about today. Talking about some of these things that are, it's going to be more along the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy and yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what Democrats are allowed to get away with. It's staggering. It's staggering. And I don't know where they have received, they think that they own, that they write the rules for everything. And I'm personally tired of it. And I think the more people, as they say, that are waking up, they're going to appear to be tired of it too. So let me know if you guys can hear me. I don't have my headset on right now, but I will put it on. And let's see. Yes, and also if you guys could also please, as I said in the intro here, if you could make sure that you're still subscribed, that makes a huge difference because of the amount of suppression that's going on from big tech. That's why I think it's very important that you guys, I think today is going to be a very interesting panel. The panel this afternoon is going to cover not only the First Amendment,
it's going to talk about technocracy and what it is, what we tend to think big tech is versus I think it's more established than what we think. So I think it's going to be a valuable panel. And of course, I'd love to have you guys there. And let's see, let's do a shout out, a couple more shout outs here. This is your brunch stream news. It's brunch stream news, but just starting a little bit earlier today. Shout out to Killer Whale Channels. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Also, shout out to the Angel Muniz Variety Show. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Delacta Camille. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that. Je suis désolé. Ami. So hopefully I'm going to get that in correctly. So let's start with, I said we're only going to deal with 1 to 2 stories, but they're both linked. So I guess we can kind of call it just one. It's going to be like one segment that's going to tie into the other. One's going to inform the other. I mean, we have ideology and all these things surrounding the left all the time. So that won't be hard to do. We won't find that hard to do at all. So how's everybody in the stream? How's everybody doing in the stream this morning? Let's see. Let's go ahead and start. We'll start let's start with the bulk of what we're talking about. And that's going to be the story that I have. It's coming from Forbes. We're going to use the Forbes story. Let's see. We have a comment here. Let's see. Hello, Michael Jordan. Are you new here to the stream? You guys want to take a look around? Got great content creators around, per usual, and great support for the channel. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and start with the first bit that I have. And this is all, I think this is mostly bulkily. It's going to talk about legislation that's coming up. And then, of course, I think even I'm hearing that the UN, that the Floyd family has purportedly engaged the UN, which I think now we're getting to, we've talked about chewing up when you're dealing with so much ideology and so much cultural Marxism, you have to realize that there's something more to it. So we're starting to chew up the fat and get down to the meat, if you will, for the lack of a better term or a better expression on this. Now we're getting to what the real agenda is. So, well, with that said, I'll start with this first sharing of the screen. Once again, I hope everybody's doing well on your Tuesday. There is no audio here, but I will read some of it. I will read most of it. And of course, I will provide you with a link if you would like. So this comes from Forbes. It was actually written on yesterday. The Democrats take a knee for Floyd, unveil police overhaul legislation. Now, this was written by Jemima McEvoy. All right. So here, she apparently covers breaking news for Forbes. So this is the top line here. House and state Democrats gathered at the U.S. Capitol's Emancipation Hall on Monday to kneel in silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in George Floyd's memory before announcing the details of major legislation intended to reform the country's police departments and combat racial bias. Okay, and I'm just going to say here, like, if you just look at this photo, we'll talk about the photo later. There's tons to see in there. There's tons of symbolism and things in there that we can pick over, but I'll just continue with the article for now. Thanks everybody so much for being here on this segment. So here it is. This is according to Forbes. The key facts here. We have the Democrats unveil their proposal, the Justice and Policing Act of 2020, on Monday after honoring Floyd's memory with nearly 9 minutes of silence. The next point, the bill, which marks one of the most ambitious efforts in years to reform U.S. policing, would make it easier to prosecute police misconduct, prohibit chokeholds, and certain no-knock warrants, in addition to creating a national registry for tracking police misconduct, according to a draft of the legislation obtained by the New York Times. So there again, this is something that I'm going to continue to follow this story. And of course, the sources, I will vet the sources going forward. This is just some of the initial breakings. And then here we have another point. The legislation will also introduce a training program covering racial bias and duty to intervene, requiring officers to use deadly force as a last resort and rely more heavily on de-escalation techniques. The plan was written by Congressional Black Caucus and House Judiciary Committee, Senator Kamala Harris, and Senator Cory Booker. Next point, quote, "These are common sense changes that," common sense, where'd you ever hear that? "Frankly, will create a far greater level of accountability for those police officers who violate the law, who violate our rights, and who violate our common community standards," end quote. Booker told NPR's All Things Considered on Sunday. Next steps will happen on Wednesday when Democrats discuss the bill, police brutality and racial profiling, at a House Judiciary Committee hearing where witnesses, including George Floyd's brother, Philonis, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, will give testimony. Democratic lawmakers expect that they will be able to push legislation through the House, but President Trump and the GOP have yet commented on which measures they would accept. Okay, here from Forbes, the key background they provide is that the protests in the wake of George Floyd's have already led to significant police reform, including the mayors of New York and Los Angeles pledging to cut their departments' budgets. Most recently, Minneapolis lawmakers vowed to disband the Minneapolis Police Department, whose officers have been charged with Floyd's May 25th killing. All 4 officers were swiftly charged after significant public pressure. And for the final keynote on this one, quote, "Persistent, unchecked bias in policing and a history of lack of accountability is wreaking havoc on the Black community," end quote. The bill's sponsors said in a letter and outline obtained by NPR, quote, "While there's no single policy prescription that will erase the decades of systemic racism and excessive policing, it's time we create structural change with meaningful reforms," end quote. The chief critic, quote, "I don't think that the law enforcement system is systematically racist," end quote. That's from Attorney General Bill Barr. He said on Sunday during an interview on CBS's Face the Nation, quote, "I think we have to recognize that for most of our history, our institutions were explicitly racist," end quote. Okay, so thanks so much, everybody, for joining me on this segment of Black Spring on your Tuesday. So there you go. You've got your verbiage there. I mean, I don't think that the bill has actually, the official bill, I would imagine that it's on draft on some level, but I can't say that I know that they have an actual one that you can pull up. Maybe they do, but of course it's going to have to be picked over and all of these things. So of course, yes, there is the bill. There's a press release also. There's a press release from I imagine the Congressional Black Caucus. So I'll also give you that article as well. So we'll see what comes out of this. I'm not convinced that the people that are putting these initiatives forward. The problem with all of this is here again, the authors. Some of the same people that that claim they have solutions have also created problems. They've created the problems. I mean, Kamala Harris, the state of California, the Black community has had their dealings with Kamala Harris. In fact, she's actually locked people up for smoking weed and has laughed about it in the face of Americans during the primaries when she was pandering for her spot during the Democratic primaries. So I just think people that are not really paying attention, they're going to be duped again. It's easy targets. So I'll show you that. With the press release, we'll have a look at that one as well. So these are things that are, I'm slightly on the heels of some of them, but I think no less. It's definitely relevant to what we might see or what we could potentially see. So I will bring you that press release. And the press release, I think, would be a little bit more. That's someone else's interpretation that I just gave you. So we can just take the press release directly from the White House. And I think this press release that I'm about to show you is coming from the Congressional Black Caucus, which the Congressional Black Caucus has more of a globalist agenda. And they've also played a role in the legislation that occurred in 1994. They went along with whatever legislation that was going on in 1994. So it's not just, when people talk about the 94 crime bill, it's not just the author and the co-author, Clinton and Biden, it's also the Black Caucus. They supported it as well. So it's not my intent to do the blame game, but you have to take, we're going to look at all of these, look at all the players. And the Black Caucus, I just think that they're part of the establishment. They want to keep their seats. I think that Candace Owens, shout out to Killer Whale, he says, what do I think of Candace Owens' views on the George Floyd? I'm going to say this about this. Candace is never going to be apologetic for what she's saying. And I think many people want to draw it down to she's being insensitive on some level. Well, she didn't commit the crimes, and why should she absorb? I think she's making a statement, a broader statement, that the Black community should aim higher before you martyr someone. We shouldn't absorb the shame and the negativity that might come from someone with a criminal background. I do think that I do think that whether he committed crimes or not, he became a victim when it was over. But I see that Candace Owens was speaking to she's speaking to the part that's relevant to her. I think she's saying that unless the tribalism changes in the Black community, things will remain the same. If you don't teach your kids to respect authority, then you're going to have problems. There are constructs everywhere. There's a law of nature. We have a rule of law in this country. I think that's what she was speaking to. She spoke about many things, and people want to take away, which it's not her fault that the media released the video. The video was leaked before anything else came out, because typically the media leaks out the outcome. They don't build a story from the ground up. They start at the end, and then they start giving you pieces of they start giving you the context after they give you the outcome. As a person in the Black community, I see this is nothing that Candace Owens has said is new. There's nothing new under the sun, as they say. And there's nothing that she said that was new. It's just that people are angry because someone had the guts to say it. There's nothing new. Even this whole NWO, whatever anybody wants to say, there's nothing new about what the gravitating force is that's trying to take over, the country. There's nothing new about that. We've seen communism. We've seen socialism. There's nothing new about that. It would be new to us here in the United States. A lot of things that we're seeing, those things are new. Our liberties and our freedoms being trampled, that's new. But is the U.S. gonna cave to anybody's propaganda that we should be less free, and we should be less free to make to get to socialism? Or should equality, if equality is going to make everybody less free overall, is it freedom? Either we're going to be free or we're not. And I think that's what, I think all of this concern about the George Floyd and all of this stuff, it's beyond George Floyd. I'm not convinced that this was ever really about. I think they wanted this. They wanted something. They wanted a powder keg, and they got it. And they also know that they also know they manipulate the Black community. And I'm saying, as a Black person, I'm tired of seeing Black people be the stepping stones for whatever their agenda is. The stepping stone for socialism, the stepping stone for communism. All the people that are proposing all these equality things, they've contributed to the inequalities. That is historic. There's overwhelming information to support the inequality that has been created by policy makers. There's nothing new about that. So Candace is not a tribal brand. Candace is gonna tell you what she thinks. She's not really concerned about anyone's feelings. She's not concerned about anyone's shame. She's really not. The delivery of it, it wasn't in my style. But but you can't say that you can't. In shame, there is truth. There is truth. She talked about many things in that video. And she's going to talk about some more things. And I'm just saying, this case with Floyd is going to keep going. It's going to keep going, because that's not the end game. These people claiming that they're all concerned. You've got people in the UK. You got people in France grieving and talking about the late George Floyd. So this is more of a global campaign to do something far-reaching, much more far-reaching than get police reform and all of this stuff. You gotta at least see that. It's all, to me, it's all to take Trump down, take Trump down, take Trump down, take Trump. They're going to use whatever they can. So I said this on an earlier stream. I think there's plenty of things. There's plenty of things that we can do individually to support communities and to support reforming behaviors. But it starts early. It doesn't start. It's not the public's responsibility. I'm not a judge. I've said this, but I think I said this in the same statement. I don't use the word, I don't throw around the word deserve, and I don't do all these things, because, as I said again, and even from a spiritual context, I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. So who am I to say what somebody deserves? At the end of the day, I might not get what I deserve, but I have to deal with it. I can't dig a hole and throw the dirt in on top of me every time I get something. Well, maybe I didn't deserve that. As an adult, you don't really live your life. You don't really live your life that way. But I think to put the wrong kinds of messages out there, I think it's irresponsible. But people do it all the time. They do it all the time. Shout out to the Definition of Anarchy. How are you? Shout out to you. And how's it going, the Definition? So what I was going to say, I just want to keep this in mind, guys. Please make sure that you're still subscribed. I mean, I know it's a part of the, I don't know what algorithm or whatever. But of course, anybody that has any conservative views or any conservative fibers, or that dares to speak anything that has an abundance of evidence or facts to support it, they're gonna track you. They're gonna be on you. So I just ask that everyone just take an extra step and make sure you're still subscribed, and also make sure you hit the notification bell. So just FYI, I'm driving this home again. I think that this afternoon stream is going to be, it's going to be informational, but I think it's also going to be revealing. There's some things that I think everybody's going to learn something new. And I hope that's, that you take away, that there's something to take away from the stream this afternoon. So here again, the stream is on the First Amendment and technocracy. So we'll be on at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I mean, I can translate a few time zones. I can go with the East Coast. That's going to be a 6 p.m. for you. Central Standard Time, that's going to be a 5 p.m. for you. And the Mountain Time always gets a little bit wonky for me. And then also for 3 p.m., that's also going to put, I think that's also going to be a 9-hour difference. That's also going to be like a 12 a.m. if you're in Europe. If you're in Europe, I think Haiti, Camille, I think the time for you, let's see, it will be today. I'll be back on again it'll be 3 p.m., but it'll be, yes, it's 3 p.m. I think you guys are Pacific Standard Time as well in Haiti. So if you would like to come, I'd love to have you back, or Jeff, if Jeff could come on. I don't know if Jeff's out there in the universe somewhere listening to this, but yeah, 3 p.m. Standard Time. And yeah, so I think we'll learn a lot about the censorship and and just like some of the give some background to it gives a framework, I think, to what we think of as big tech, I think is what Patrick Wood is going to be offering on that. So those guests will be Mary Baker and Patrick Wood of Citizens for Free Speech. They will be on at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. So I hope you guys will come by for that. Of course, it'll also be available for you it'll be available in the replay, but also even from replay, I think if I can take some questions, I will take some questions on that. And because it's going to be so informative, I would imagine that some questions are going to come out of it. Hopefully you'll be curious about it. I think it's an interesting topic, and it's an interesting institution, if you will, for now. I'll leave it. I would even go further than that and say it's probably a social construct that we just didn't know about. But you'll learn about that today, so I'll say no more on that. So how's everybody doing in the stream? Shout out to the Definition of Anarchy. Shout out to Killer Whale Channels, Patrick Jane Forums, and Theology Forums. Shout out to Michael Jordan. If you guys could do me a huge favor and hit the like button even on this stream. It helps a lot. Really helps a lot to have your guys' feedback. We're available. Let's see. I'm going to check and see what's happening on where am I showing up in the bulk of things. But I'm so glad you guys are here. Shout out to Delacta Camille. Let's see. Je suis heureux. Okay. So yeah, make sure you can come back if you can. That would be helpful. If you can come back for that. Let's see, who else is here? So we've got our people, and shout out to the Angel Nunes Variety Show. Thank you so much for coming in. But I just want to let's go back to the topic at hand here. I want to give you the press release that was released yesterday. I gave you the Forbes, but I'm kind of going a little bit backwards here. But I'm going to give you the quotes from. It's kind of outlining. We're going to see what this looks like. I think some of these people are we have a lot of ignorance and a lot of incompetent people that are in the government. And I just think it's just, It's staggering. Oh, Angel, you're most generous. Thank you so much. Hey, excellent. I even brought my own. I brought my own. So yeah, you were good to get that. You need your fuel. Fuel for the show. Okay, so let's go over to the site. Let's look at this really quickly here. There's no audio on this, but I'll just try to painlessly read some of it. So this comes from the judiciary.house.gov. So this is coming from the House Committee on the Judiciary. Chairman Gerald Nadler. Okay, this is a press release. Karen Bass is the chair. Bass, I believe, is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, if you will. And of course, this is Senators Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, and Chairman Jerry Nadler introduced the Justice and Policing Act of 2020. So according to this is transformative legislation supported by 166 representatives and 35 senators. So this was written on yesterday. It was written on yesterday. Okay, so we'll start here. I'm going to try to make this as painless as I can. It says Washington, D.C. Today, the Congressional Black Caucus Chair, Karen Bass, a Democrat from California, Senators Cory Booker, Democrat New Jersey, and Kamala Harris, Democrat California, and the House Judiciary Committee Chair, Gerald Nadler, introduced the Justice and Policing Act of 2020, the first ever bold, comprehensive approach to hold police accountable, change the culture of law enforcement, and build trust between law enforcement and our communities. Chair Bass, quote, "What we are witnessing is the birth of a new movement in our country, with thousands coming together in every state, marching to demand a change that ends police brutality, holds police officers accountable, and calls for transparency. For over 100 years, Black communities in America have sadly been marching against police abuse and calling for the police to protect and serve them as they do others. Today, we unveil the Justice in Policing Act, which we will establish a bold, transformative vision of policing in America. Never again should the world be subjected to witnessing what we saw on the streets in Minnesota with George Floyd." End quote. Now, that's very apropos. It's very apropos that they would bring out that the way that this was all captured and the way that Mr. Floyd was taken away. This was very public display. And it almost makes me feel like this was provocateur. Almost. I'm not saying that I'm a prophet of any kind, but it's suspect. Because you notice this, never again should the world be subjected to witnessing what we saw on the streets in Minnesota with George Floyd, end quote. Okay, so let's go on here. Senator Cory Booker, quote, "America has a serious and deadly problem when it comes to the discriminatory and excessive policing of communities of color, and that policing exists within a system that time and again refuses to hold police accountable for their brutality. For too long, this has been accepted as a cruel reality of being Black in this country. We are forced to figure out how to keep ourselves safe from law enforcement, and we are viewed as a threat to be protected against instead of people worth protecting. And for too long, Congress has failed to act. That ends today with the landmark Justice and Policing Act, which, for the first time in history, will take a comprehensive approach to ending police brutality. On the back end, the bill fixes our federal laws so law enforcement officers are held accountable for egregious misconduct, and police abuses are better tracked and reported. And on the front end, the bill improves police practices and training to prevent these injustices from happening in the first place," end quote. Now, that came from Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. All right, now here's to Senator Kamala Harris. Here's her statement. Quote, "America's sidewalks are stained with Black blood. In the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's murders, we must ask ourselves, how many more times must our families and our communities be put through the trauma of an unarmed Black man or a woman's killing at the hands of the very police who are sworn to protect and serve them? As a career prosecutor and former Attorney General of California, I know that real public safety requires community trust and police accountability. I'm proud to join my colleagues in introducing this historic legislation that will get our country on a path forward, end quote. All right, and for the final, Chair Jerry Nadler, this is from Chair Nadler, quote, we have heard the terrifying words, quote, I can't breathe, from George Floyd, Eric Garner, and millions of Americans in the streets calling out for justice. For every incident of excessive force that makes headlines, the ugly truth is that there are countless others that we never hear about. Got that right. This is a systemic problem that requires a comprehensive solution. I am proud to work in lockstep with the Congressional Black Caucus to craft the Justice in Policing Act. This bold, transformative legislation will finally ban chokeholds at the federal level and incentivize states to do the same. It will help end racial profiling, get weapons of war off of our streets, hold police accountable, increase transparency, and require and encourage greater use of body cameras. It does all of this while ensuring that our law enforcement agencies adhere to the very highest standards in training, hiring, and de-escalation strategies to address systemic racism and bias to change the culture of law enforcement in America and ultimately save lives. I hope to take up this legislation in the House Judiciary Committee in the coming weeks. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of this. You guys can do this. I'll put the link in the box right now. If you want to deal with this, deal with the verbiage on this. So then it talks about the points, what it's projected to do. The Justice and Policing Act of 2020. So you got all your points here. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so then of course on the bottom here you have the co-signing of the other members of Congress. Of course, Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So I haven't gone through those yet, but I just thought, why not just open them up a little bit? Just to open up, because it's new. I don't think this is actually drafted on. It's not a full draft just yet. Hi, Momito. How are you? Shout out to you. Good day. How are you? Thanks for coming in. So what I did is I put the link into what the press. This is a press release that you have. It's not the actual bill that comes from like whitehouse.gov. It's not that. It's the press release. So but you've got, first and foremost, I think before anyone would try to clean up or correct anything, you got to look at these older, you got to look at all for them to come out with some legislation just overnight for issues of this magnitude. And these are career politicians that are, I mean, Kamala and Harris and Cory Booker haven't been serving in Congress nearly as long as the people in the Black Caucus. So I would think that they would have, if I'm looking at this without any bias, why wouldn't you would need to conduct an entire study to put together something that would be effective, right? Wouldn't you need to go through all the laws and all the bills and all the acts that are already, all the things that are already out there, whether they work or not? But you can't put together 12 points of something and throw it out there and say, hey, here's the end of all the problems. And not to mention, much of the legislation that's there has been created by Democrats, has been co-signed by the Black Caucus. The same people that have written the previous problems are going to write the solution. I'm thinking of 94 crime bill. Of course, they tie Biden and Clinton to it. But then they were complicit. They agreed to that too. Do they read the bills? According to Nancy, back when they wrote the healthcare bill, she said, "Oh, we have to pass it in order to find out what's in it." So I'm just saying, this is like the amount of ignorance that we tolerate from these people that are supposed to be serving. If they don't read, how can they be educated about what they're doing? Just saying. But do I think that they are just haphazardly making bad laws and bad policies? You can't convince me of that either, because nothing that they've done up until this point has really made a difference. And that's going for the Congressional Black Caucus. That's for them. I don't believe that the Congressional Black Caucus is for the people. I really don't. I don't think that they're serving their communities. Maxine Waters is a part of the Congressional Black Caucus. Karen Bass, Congressional Black Caucus. Right. And you're right. You've got many Republicans, many of them are complicit. If you've been complicit with all of this stuff, then you're also a part of the problem. And to me, we're so far away from any of the anything that's original, any original creeds. No, but you can't recognize where we are. We recognize things are not good, but we also recognize we're not anywhere where we started. Wherever we started, it was never meant to be the way, it was never meant to turn. The outcome shouldn't have been this, with all the laws and all the acts on the books and all these groups and all of this committee, that committee. How many committees do you need not to realize that you're not making a difference? How many? I don't care if you say I don't care what tribalism you say you represent. You have not made a difference. You've contributed to the problem. So I'm just saying, for the sake, my final tag on that is that they cannot. I'm not convinced that these people can make anything, create anything. I think they can. I think it can be done, but I don't think it's going to come from them. I don't. I also won't say that you can, that anything, will I say anything's 100%? Will I say anything's pure? No, no. It can't be. There's too many constructs. There's either too many constructs, there's too much. We've just turned into it's way out of control. So I'm going to take that one off of the screen. So I hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Also, if you guys could please make sure that you hit the like button or the unlike button. Pick whatever you like. But just make sure that I know that you are here. That's all. That helps for the channelytics, and it's supporting the channel. Okay. Also, make sure you're still subscribed, and make sure you're getting your notifications. If you think you're not getting your notifications, you can always contact me, and that's in the About section. I believe all of that's in the About section. Yeah, there's a way to get in touch with me. So if you will do that, also please keep an eye on the community tab. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Chrysler Imperial H is one of the hardest working content creators out there. He's got a great sense of humor. He goes live. Check him out. Also check out the Definition of Anarchy. The Definition of Anarchy goes live. He's got content coming out. Also, Killer Whale channels, Patrick Jane forums, theology forums. Check out Killer Whale. Killer Whale goes live. Killer Whale has, I think Killer Whale is very inspiring. He has a lot to offer, and it's fun. It's fun. I will tell you, I've said this before, that my channel inspiration started by watching, it came from watching Killer Whale channels, and I'm not sure if TR is anywhere out there. If the sound waves reach TR, the TR show, those are certainly good references to start. Great networks. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Delacta Camille. Shout out to you. So glad you could come in. Hope to see you guys back later. Also, check out the keep checking the community tab. I do have memberships available via Patreon, so I'm going to be rolling out some new things there and expanding the Patreon page. I don't know, who knows, there may even be some emojis coming out if you're into that kind of a bit. I'm not quite sure about emojis. I mean, I'm not sure what, I haven't quite figured out the emoji lineup, but it would be fun no less. But yeah, just check out the Patreon page. I get to do things on Patreon that I don't necessarily get to do here, but this is the home base. This is the nucleus, if you will, of Black Spring, and I appreciate every single one of you. So you're always welcome here. And I'm also going to try to make sure I give you the things that matter, or things that you may not have considered on this channel. So thanks so much, everybody. So I'm just going to pull this one off of the screen. I'm going to take that one off the screen. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to see if anybody wants to jump on here. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, so there's your stream. There's your link for this morning's stream. Thanks so much for everybody for coming in. Shout out to Mommy Toe. Let's see. Angel likes to go on panels.
Autumn.
Hi, Angel. How are you?
I'm doing well.
How are you doing?
Doing fine there, Autumn. I have this little background here for.
I like that. That's very nice.
Thanks.
Very, very nice. Yeah, that's very, very, very patriotic and very nice. Lots of depth in that scene.
And a little soldier marching and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Very impressive there. So how are you doing this morning?
Doing well. Just getting my day started because it's 10:18 a.m. here in Arizona, and I'm guessing it's like 12:19 p.m. or 1:19 where you are at.
No, it's earlier. It's earlier than that. It's 10:20 a.m.
Oh, so we're in the same time zone then.
Oh yeah, very cool. That's right. I don't know why I wasn't thinking. Yeah, Arizona. I haven't been to Arizona in a while, but it's a beautiful place.
But you know, there are multiple reasons why I came to Arizona last year. One of them being to be closer to family. But the one thing that made me want to leave Minnesota, come down here, is because of the political differences, where Minnesota is Democratic and Arizona is Republican.
Interesting. Wow, that's yeah. I'm sure there is. I'm sure you are seeing the staunch differences, if you will. You're happy with the change, huh?
Yeah, because I've had a lot more opportunities come my way for jobs and that kind of stuff. And I tried applying for a job in Minnesota a couple of years back, and I wasn't able to at least be given an opportunity.
Excellent. Good for you. Good for you. So are you excited about things to come in Arizona? Have you got big plans for this year?
Yeah, I'm excited for the things to come in Arizona because for one, I'm moving into a new apartment come August, and the other stuff, I'm just gonna like see what comes my way, and if it's something that I'll take an opportunity in, sure, I'll like go ahead and claim that opportunity. And if it goes further than what I expected, then I'm just pure lucky.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, I think, I have the last time I went to Arizona, I flew there, but and I've driven through Arizona. I had a flat tire. I had a blowout in, it was Red Rock, maybe? Was it Red Rock? Red Rock, maybe. Yeah, I think I had a blowout back in 2007. Me and my dad we were doing a cross country haul, and my tire blew out, and yeah, we caught it in time. It could have been much worse, but we caught it in time. But it's a beautiful place, beautiful state, and what do you like to do there?
Typically, what I like to do is whenever it's not too hot out, I like to go biking because I go biking a lot, and that's my bike is like my form of transportation. Because I do take the light rail and I do take the bus system, but who wants to pay like $65 a month for a pass and that kind? Even though it does operate, but even though the pass does operate for both the bus and the light rail, who wants to pay
Mhm.
that much?
I know. See, that's a great way to stay in shape and save money. You're getting two things at once.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you could come on. So, what do you think about what's going on? Do you follow a lot of things that are happening, whether it's the George Floyd case, or do you follow any of the cultural kinds of things that are going on, or you just follow politics, or what do you normally follow?
For me, I do follow it, but I just don't say too much about it because I just try to keep things for myself to where I'm just doing things for my own good and not like trying to get involved of destruction of property, taking 55-inch TVs without paying for it, like the looters are. I just try to focus on my own self and I try to do things that benefit me. Because what would I rather do? Go move into my new apartment and celebrate the luxury of having my own castle, or would I rather just take a crown off of some innocent person?
Well, I hear you. I hear you. It's much. I think you've got a point there. So that's pretty exciting that you're getting a new apartment, and so are you having a lot of now? That's one area. Have you guys had a lot of rioting and looting there, or
Um,
more protests?
um, here in Phoenix, no, but there's been protests within the Phoenix area, but not near where I live at.
Mhm.
But there was like some rioting in the city of Scottsdale.
Wow, wow. You said rioting was there?
Yeah, rioting and looting in the city of Scottsdale.
Yeah, I think Scottsdale's pretty. That's kind of an affluent. I don't want to say it's a. Can I say that's pretty ritzy? I guess an affluent community there,
Yeah.
or at least it used to be. I don't know. I know things change over time, but I don't think I've ever spent any time in that city. I've been to Phoenix. I've been to maybe one other city, but not Scottsdale. No, but I know
Uh,
it's been warm every time.
yeah. Yeah.
So I tell you, I've traveled. When you kind of get into the Southwest traveling, I also start to think about Utah, like Utah and Arizona. They kind of have that same kind of warmth. I mean, I think Arizona probably has what is it? Is it Bryce Canyon? Is it Bryce Canyon? No, no, no. That's Utah. So I haven't really spent any time. See, there you go. I'm conflating Arizona with Utah. Not the same place. Not the same. The heat is still pretty dry. I think the
Yeah.
Colorado River runs through. I think I'm not. Yeah, my geography is a little bit skewed, right?
And over the past couple weeks, there's been like 3 or 4 days within the week where it was an excessive heat wave.
So you guys have had that already?
Yep, pretty much the warmer temperatures had came early this year because they started like approaching at the end of April.
Ah,
So we pretty much have been experiencing that, and this is my first time ever experiencing this kind of weather because I lived in Minnesota for most of my life, for 24 years to be exact.
wow. Well, and I can say this, Minnesota, I mean, every time I've been to Minnesota, it's been very cold there. And what is it, the Sky Bridge, the Skywalk, and all that? I spent a lot of time on the Skywalk because I was just, not adapted to, the temperatures there. It was cold.
Yeah.
So, but you're lucky. I mean, you're lucky that you're having great. Not that I don't want to say that that it's all luck, but I think that that's just you're just giving testimony to the different opportunities between, across the country, whether you come from the Midwest to the Southwest, it's all, there's opportunities. I think you just have to step out there and see what comes your way. It's very cool. Well, I'm glad you could come on, and I'm so glad that you decided to come on and subscribe to the channel.
Well, it was great meeting you the other day on Sandy K's stream there, Autumn, and that's why I kind of figured I come to your channel and such. And I've watched a few of your videos, and I have to say that you are a great commentator in terms of news and politics.
Well, I really appreciate that. Like I said, I didn't start out knowing exactly what I wanted to do on my channel, but I do find that there should always be room for knowledge. And I think many people, they kind of subscribe to the opposite of that. Many people don't want to learn anything, whether it's fact, whether it's policy, whether it's history. I don't think many people want to learn. They don't want to learn anything. They just want somebody to say something, and they want to choose, oh, this person said this person said that, I'm going to pick that one. They don't really want to. They'd rather somebody bring. It's okay if you don't want to create.
Well, it's okay to ask for suggestions or recommendations by someone. Like if I were to come to you and ask you, what do you think is the best vacuum that I should get? And if you suggested a Dyson, would I go with the Dyson? No, I need to go with what I want to go with and how much I want to spend and that kind of stuff. So pretty much when a person picks and choose, they need to pick and choose for themselves. And if they are wanting someone to do the picking for them, there will come a time where they'll pick something for you that you will absolutely will not like. And it's not their fault for choosing it. It's for you letting them doing it.
Right. Well, you're right. Everyone has the right to choose what they want.
Yeah.
And some people do that. Some people do that just fine. Some people just go in, pick something and walk out. And some people, they spend time before they choose it so that they can make sure that they get the best deal.
Yep.
So yeah, well, I thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, because for me, about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a hard time choosing for myself. And I basically just went with everything that people had told me when I was in services down in Minnesota. Because I had a social worker, a guardianship, a payee/conservator, and a couple of other services down there. And they pretty much were doing things for me. I kind of didn't at least question it. I just went along with it. But as years progressed, I came to a realization that it really wasn't what they were doing for me really wasn't my best interest.
And that's good. I mean, it's good that you know that you've got enough experience to know what works for you. I think that's good that you've got that experience. So yeah, I really appreciate you for coming on, Angel. And wow, look, you just transformed. That's a great background too.
But I love your little. Is that a background of your actual office there or your apartment? Because
this
Yeah.
This is a virtual studio. I am a musician, and I have been in a studio that looks very much look like this, which I find to be ironic. At the school that I used to teach, we had a studio like that with a piano in the background. So maybe I can pull that one out one day. See, you just keep going. You just keep going to really great places.
Now I'm in the library.
Nice, nice, nice. That's fantastic, Angel. Well, I appreciate you for coming on. Will you be able to come back?
Yeah,
Um,
I'll come back again here because I think that you have an interesting channel, and I would love to be more a part of it and give my views and opinions and that kind of stuff, and also to where you can get to know more about me.
well, I thank you so much for that, Angel. And yeah, well, so it'll be at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. today. So I'll be back on. So it's just doing this. I try to start at 10, but I decided to start a little bit earlier because I'm going to be back again later. So I think it'll be good. So I really appreciate you for coming on.
No problem. You have a great day.
You too.
Oh, and by the way, I added some cinnamon toast crunch coffee creamer to my coffee. Basically, I guess you can say it's the taste that I can drink. Because remember the old cinnamon toast crunch commercials with the slogan, "The taste you can see."
Right.
Oh, it's the taste that you can drink.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks. And cheers to your coffee.
Yep. It's in the kitchen. I put it there while you were talking, and I just set it back on the counter. So I need to finish up on my coffee for this morning. But you have a great day.
You too. Thanks so much for coming on, Angel.
No problem.
Thank you. All right, guys. Shout out to Angel Munez Variety Show. Angel Munez is new to the show, but he's very loyal. He's got a lot of great things to contribute, and you should check out his channel. Check out his channel for sure. He's also a loyal patron of the channel, so I appreciate him for all of his support. Shout out to everyone else in the stream. Shout out to Killer Whale Channels, Chrysler Imperial H is one of the hardest working subscribers and content creators out here. Works very hard here on the platform. So let me just do a couple of things. I'm going to do a couple of things before I close out this stream. Hope everybody's doing well on your Tuesday. It's hard to believe we are already at the Tuesday mark. And this year is flying. It's flying by. So I'm going to put a couple of links into the stream for you guys before we close this one out. So I'll be dropping a couple of links into the stream. And I said, always, when you come here, you can always look around and see if there's anyone in the neighborhood that you might like to connect to, or you might just want to go over and check out and see what's going on. Now, I'm dropping the link right now for Angel Munez Variety Show. So we get that out of the stream. Okay. So I'm going to be dropping a few links in here. Also, I still have something that I do, the playlist of the week. That's still going on. And I will announce, I just got a little bit behind. So I will announce the winners of the playlist of the week on next Monday. So I haven't forgotten about the program. I just got a little bit behind. And also check out, I do have playlists on the different playlists. And before, I think my playlists were a little bit, I think it was a little bit obstructed. I had too much stuff going on. Too many things going on here. So I'm just going to drop a couple of links in the stream here. Hope everybody's doing well. and that you are having a great Tuesday. Thank you everybody so much for coming in on this segment. So right now I'm just going to put a couple of links in the stream. As I've said before, I run all the show, run the whole show around here. I don't have a team. I should have told Chrysler, you could have dropped your own, Chrysler, to drop your link in the stream. Also I should say the Killer Whale channels, you can feel free to drop your link in the stream. But I did it. I did it anyway, but let's see. I'm still going here, so not to worry. And Angel, I dropped yours in as well. Yeah, yours is in the stream. So, and Chrysler, I'm going to drop yours. I'm going to drop yours and the definitions into the stream here. All right, so just give me a few seconds here. I'm double fisting all this stuff. Hope everybody's doing well. Also, please make sure you will hit the like button. Yeah. Make sure I get that right. Like or the unlike button. Make sure that you are subscribed and that you're getting your notifications. Like I said, if you're not getting your notifications, let me know. And I'm going to be also dropping other links into the stream. Hello, Gina. Hi, Luciano. How are you? Nice to see you. So we've been just talking a little bit about what's happening with all the talk around the defunding the police and all of these things. Hi, Jeff B. How are you doing? Shout out to you. It's been a lifetime. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Derek C. Williams. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. Everybody's doing well. So we were just talking, just a recap on what we were dealing with today. We were dealing with here again, the defunding of the police conversations, also the Democrats' justice for policing 2020. We were looking at that, which is just a press release at this point, but I'm sure it'll be on the website sooner or later. Right now, it's only the press release is what I'm seeing. Also, keep in mind, this afternoon, we are dealing with the First Amendment as well as technocracy with Mary Baker of Citizens for Free Speech, as well as Patrick Wood of Technocracy. So if you guys are around, you might want to come around. They are going to be here live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So one more time, I'm going to translate as much as I can on the time zones. That will be for the Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a 6 o'clock time, 5 o'clock p.m. for the Central Standard Time. I think Mountain Time. Oh, yikes! I might say 4 o'clock. You might need to fact check that ASAP. So this is going to be a very informative kind of a panel. It's also going to be talking about dealing with the First Amendment as well as the technocracy. So if you are a content creator, this is definitely, they're going to be speaking to a lot of things about a lot of frameworks and even, I would even say, some level of constructs that we're not even familiar with because we're not privy to it. I'm not a big tech, and I'm not in the technology world. I'm not really into that's not my domain of competence. So I thought it was good to be important to see what that looks like, and for someone that's a professional. So these are well read and well spoken experts on many of these subjects. So you want to see what's happening, what we can do to defend, and what we can do to uphold what we have. And please join me at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And keep checking back. So we hope everything will go well, and we'll start there, and it'll be great to have you guys on. So let me see. I haven't seen Sandy K in a while. Oh, shout out to Sandy K. So I'm going to be dropping Sandy K into the stream here. Thanks so much to the supporters of the channel. And let's see. So I'm going to put Sandy K in here. I'm going to do a shout out for everybody that's in the stream. Thanks so much for coming in, guys. We're almost to the end of this stream. I thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back with a full show at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. I think I've got, all right, so we're going to do a shout out to Luciano. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Jeff B. Shout out to Gina. Shout out to, you guys please hit the like or unlike or the subscribe button, or make sure you're getting your notifications. If you're not, please contact me or put a 1 or something in the stream, and I can take heed and investigate that as much as possible. We are talking about the censorship. I think that's going to be a bit of what we're going to deal with on this discussion this afternoon. So that's why I'm thinking, even for content creators, it's definitely going to be something that you're going to want to tune into, because I think it's going to give us some behind the scenes insight on there again what I think is a framework or construct that we don't know anything about. Shout out to Bonnie Rose. Shout out to you, the definition. Do you want to come up? I'm probably going to break this one down here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I was going to click already, but 5 to 10 minutes. If you want to come on, I think it's out there. The link's already out there. So shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Shout out to the definition of anarchy, aka the definition. Just a second. I was just dropping some links there, so I kind of got appreciate so much you guys for coming in. Shout out to Killer Whale Channels. Thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to the Angel Nunes Variety Show. That was Angel who came on earlier. So thank you so much, Angel, for coming on. Which I want to say this to Angel. It's interesting that you lived in Minneapolis and that you are living in Arizona now. And you already, I mean, I'm sure that there's some, in terms of government and state and local government, you can tell the differences right away. And it's great that you found opportunities that speak to you there versus where you were, which I think that many people are going to get fed up with the amount of ignorance and the amount of lunacy that we're seeing from the left. It just seems like nonstop whimpering, whining, and complaining. And then they also create problems, and then we got a solution for you over here. And I'm really sick of, I'm sick of the pandering. I'm sick of it's insulting for anybody to kneel to me. Just FYI, I don't want to ever see anybody, if I ever meet anyone from this show, I would not appreciate you kneeling in front of me. I'm asking you not to do that. That is an insult to me, and I think it's disrespectful in so many ways. I even saw something ridiculous about find a black person and buy them lunch. This is despicable. Very despicable. I'm not your pet. I'm not your animal. I'm not your novelty. Don't patronize me. Just treat me with dignity and respect. That's all I ask. On my channel, in public, whatever. Whatever. But don't be, I think that's beyond, it's disrespectful. Michael Jordan, shout out to you. I don't know why that feels so surreal. Say Michael Jordan. My brother used to have a huge picture of Michael Jordan on his wall when we were kids. Shout out to Killer Whale Channels, Patrick Jane Forums. Shout out to you, Theology Forum. Shout out to Dr. Camille. Thank you so much from Haiti, my friend from Haiti. I'd love to have you back at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, which I think you guys are on the same time zone as well. Let me see what else. I think I got everyone. Some of you I think are kind of new to the stream, and it's nice to have you on. I'd like to have you back for sure. You're welcome to come back at any time. Also, please keep an eye on the community tab. In the community tab, I don't know, maybe you guys aren't familiar with the community tab. Shout out to Mommy Joe. Mommy Toe. I got that one big time. Sorry, Mommy Toe, but thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Hope to see you guys back for the guests, Mary Baker and Patrick Wood. Look forward to seeing you guys back then. And Bonnie Rose, shout out to you. Let me just see what's happening. Also, please make sure you're still subscribed, because I have to play the reindeer games. You know, we're having to do that around here, just to make sure we're all still subscribed. And let's see, I'm gonna click on it here and see. Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for coming on. So yeah, so with all that's going on, there'll be plenty of these stories to follow in the future. So I'm going to continue to follow the stories, especially on the policing legislation that they're coming up with, which I think that's going to be that I'm just so more the suspect of them creating anything. There's an end game here, and I think it's only going to come out. It's going to come out on the ugly end. So once again, hope everybody's doing well, and shout out to Bonnie Rose, who came in last. I think shout out to Luciano. So yeah, I just think, you know, I'm just saying, like, at a certain point, you know, you get tired of the manipulation. You get tired of the patronizing. You get tired of, it's actually offensive. It's very offensive what's going on. I showed you guys a picture earlier of the Democrats kneeling in the Emancipation Hall. I just advise everybody to learn some history about your party, the party that you represent. That's just about as softball as I can do. Learn some history about them. So I think that's pretty much covering everything, because I had a bit. This was supposed to be a short stream. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope to see you guys back around 3 p.m. today for the panel on the First Amendment and on the technocracy. So you guys take care, and I will see you later.